Hi students. So today we'll discuss the first chapter of class 12, both ICSC and CBSE. That is electrostatics. Electrostatics is the first unit, and in the first unit we'll discuss the first chapter, that is electric charge and electric field. So before starting anything, first we have to learn about the headings we have used. What is electrostatics? Electrostatic means where we have studied about the electric charges which are at rest. I think in class 10 also you have learned about the electric charges, but there the electric charges are moving, that you have learned in current electricity. But here in this part you have learned about the electric charges which are at rest. So first of all, electric charge. What is it? So if I'm talking about electric charge, it is an intrinsic property of elementary particles. Intrinsic property of elementary particles. What are the elementary particles we know? So we know about proton, we know about electron. These are the elementary particles by which a matter has formed. So like mass, length, volume, these are the intrinsic property or physical property of a body, okay, of a substance, of a matter. So similarly, for the elementary particles, one property is there, that is charge. We know there are two kind of charges are there. One, there is positive, another is negative. If I'm talking about proton, it is having positive charge, and if I'm talking about electron, it is negative charge. So we are not discussing about neutron here, because you all know that neutron is a chargeless particle. Okay, now the question has come from where the idea of electric charges is developed. So it's a very early age, I think it's before the birth of Christ. One scientist, he has rubbed amber. Amber is nothing but a resin like substance. Okay, so when he rubbed it with silk, he has seen that that amber can able to attract some substance. Nowadays also, when basically in winter season, when we comb our hair, the comb can able to attract the small papers. So what properties has come to the body? So that properties, when they have discussed about it, it has come the idea of charges. So where the positive charges, from where the positive charges has come, the idea of positive charges has come when uh, a glass rod is rubbed by a silk, then the glass rod just provide the positive charge, and when a ebonite rod is rubbed by a fart, then the ebonite rod carrying negative charge. Why it is occurred? What is the reason behind it? See, if I'm talking about any substance, inside it there is nucleus, and around it we all know the electrons are rotating. So it's two. Okay, I have showing you a arbitrary. Okay, just like, see, don't take that it is the confirmed thing or something like that. So here you see I have drawn just six electrons. Okay, so if it wants to complete the octet, it have to just take, it will take some amount of electrons from any other material. So when we rub a substance, due to this rubbing, what heat energy is produced, by that heat energy the charges are distributed. So some charges from one matter or one body to come another. So from where the charges has come, that will take negative, and where the charges will come, then it will take a From where the charges will come, I'm sorry, that is positive, and where the charges will come, there the negative charges are generated. Okay, so I'm not going too much details on that because it is not very important for you. Okay, rather we'll go the topic which one we have to discuss more. So next one property we have to see for the electric charge, that is quantization. Quantization of electric charge. What do you mean by quantization? That also you have learned, I think, in class 10. That the quantization of electric charge means that the total charge of a body is always an integral multiple of a basic quantum of a charge of electron. That means total charge of a body. If the total charge is Q, if we have written total charge, if total charge is Q, then Q equals to N into E, where N is equals to 0, 1, 2, 3, any integral number. Simple thing is that we cannot able to give charge to a body in a form of fraction. The charge will always be in a multiple of electrons. So simple thing, because we cannot able to distribute half of electron or 2/3 of electron like that. If I want to give electron, I have to give 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 500, whatever it may be. And whenever we have to receive electron, that should be as per the integral number. Okay, so that is the basic things of electrostatics in electric charge portion. So here also more things are there. I think you have learned it in class 8, that is lightning conductor, how it works, charge shielding, how it works. So these are also, if you read your book, it is given. So my suggestion is go through the book, read it once. It is not important as per our exam point of view, because our target should get good marks. Okay, so these are good for concept, but as you have learned earlier, so we will not discuss much on that. Now we'll do which one our topic is here. Okay, so let's see about the main topic. So when we come to the main topic, that is Coulomb's law. Okay, so Coulomb, Coulomb's law. So what is Coulomb's law? The Coulomb's law is basically a law or an equation which deals with the electric force between the two charges. And now you're asking that whatever the force it will be, whether it is attraction or repulsion, because you know if it is two same charges, that is positive positive or negative negative, there will be repulsion. If it is opposite charges, there will be attraction. But here we are talking about the force, that means both attraction and repulsions are here. So assume, if we assume there are two charges, assume it is Q1 and Q2. The two charges are kept at a distance r. Then what is the statement of the law? The statement of the law is the force of attraction or repulsion between the stationary charge is directly proportional to the product of charges. Okay, when the distance r is constant, means we have not changed the distance. Simple thing, the force of attraction or repulsion is directly proportional to the product of charges. So two charges are here, Q1 and Q2. So force is directly proportional to Q1 into Q2. And the second statement tells us this force is inversely proportional to the square of the distance, where the charges Q1 and Q2 are constant. You have not changed the charges. Okay, so this is the basic law. Okay, so if I want to express the law in a form of equation, because we know if we write it together, F is proportional to Q1 Q2 by R square when everything is changed, everything is varied. Then we have to put a constant here to make it a equation. So let the constant is k. So q1 q2 by r square, where k is your constant. Now there should be a value of a k. Okay, so this k is written as 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. See it, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. So what is it? See, talking about 4 pi, you know it's a constant, but what is epsilon naught here? Epsilon naught is known as permittivity in free space. Permittivity in free space. Oh, I'm sorry, permittivity in free space. What is it? What stands for the permittivity? The permittivity means it is the property of a medium by which it determines the electric force between two charges. I'm just clearing you little bit in easy language. See, whenever I have taken these two charges Q1 and Q2 in air, then what force of attraction or repulsion we have seen? If I have taken it to another place, as if inside the water, inside the sand, or any other medium, and then the force of attraction or repulsion is changed. That means for different medium, the force of attraction and repulsion is different. That means this permittivity, it will different in different medium. So that is a property which change the electric force for different medium. So here epsilon naught we have taken, it is permittivity in free space or in vacuum. The value is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. It is taken as 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton meter square coulomb to the power minus 2. Okay, Newton meter square coulomb to the power minus 2. So how it can be written? So F equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square. So from where this unit has come, that also you can see here. If I just want to write down 4 pi epsilon naught, so it should be F R square by Q1 into Q2. For F, that is Newton. For R square, that is the distance, that is meter square, and Q1 into Q2, that gives us coulomb square. Okay, so if I want to define 1 coulomb charge from here, then what we can able to do? So if Q1 or Q2 both we have taken 1 coulomb, R equals to 1 meter, and if I find out the F here, then F is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught. Simple thing, because Q1 Q2 and R we have make 1, so F equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, that is 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. So from this formula we can say that 1 coulomb is that amount of charge that repels one equal and similar charge with a force of 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton when it is placed in vacuum and the distance between them is 1 meter. That means if you have taken two 1 coulomb charges and keep it at 1 meter distance, then the force of attraction that should be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught or 9 into 10 to the power 9 Newton. Okay, so that is all about the Coulomb's law. and that is your basic thing which is used in electrostatics. That is the base of electrostatics. So now we'll go the next part. What is the next part? See, we all know when we are talking about the force, whether it is attraction or repulsion, it is a vector quantity. Okay, so force is a vector quantity. So we have to find out the vector form of Coulomb's law. Vector form of Coulomb's law. Vector form of Coulomb's law, because by Coulomb's law we are finding the force. So as we are finding out the force, so there should be a vector form of it. So how can we able to do it? Let's see. So first we have done two axes, because without the origin we cannot able to identify the position of anything. It can be a charge or it can be anything. So here we have taken two charges. One charge is here, that is q1, and another charge is here, that is q2. The distance from O to q1, that we have taken r1, and it's a position vector of q1, and that should be a vector sign. And from O to q2, means from origin to q2, the distance is, or the position is r2, that is the r2 vector. Okay, and the distance between the two charges, if I'm talking about the distance between the two charges, the magnitude is, I have taken r. You have taken the magnitude is r, and what will be the direction, that I have to discuss little later. Okay, that we have to discuss little later, what will be the direction, because we are talking about two different direction here. Let's see. So first we have to find out number one thing, that is force acting on q2 due to q1. So how much force is applied by q1 to q2? Okay, that one we have to find out. So that one is written by F21. F21 means, F21 means force on 2 due to 1. Okay, force on 2 due to 1. I'm sorry, it should be force 1 2, F12. Force on 2 due to 1. That is the process. Force on 2 due to 1. So what is the value of it? What's the magnitude of it? 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by distance, it is r square. But if I want to write it down in a form of vector, then how we can able to write it? Achha, in which direction it works? Force on 2 due to 1. As it is a repulsive force, okay, so it will act in this direction. Okay, so from 1 to 2, okay, from 1 to 2, and that should be written as r12 cap, because the direction is from 1 to 2, and I think what I have just cancelled there, that time I was right, that is F21. It should be written as F21. Okay, because by mistake I have done it. F21 is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square, and the direction is along r12 cap. Okay, that is denoted by a vector sign. Okay, so F21 equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square r12. Now I'm just introduce you one thing that you have learned earlier, that is the idea of unit vector. You have done it in class 11. What is unit vector? The unit vector is nothing but the vector by its magnitude. So if I'm talking, n cap is a unit vector, so n cap equals to a vector by mod of a. Okay, so here also r12 cap, that should be r12 vector by mod of r, because the magnitude is r, I have already mentioned. So r12 cap is acting in this direction, that means r12 vector, that direction is also here. Okay, so that is the vector. So if I put the value here, that is r12 vector is equals to, oh, instead of r12 it is r12 cap into r vector. It can be written by this way also. Now we have to write down f21. So f21 equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. Instead of r12 cap, I have to write down this one. Okay, so it is r12 vector by mod of r, and that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r cube into r12 vector. That is the force on charge 2 due to 1. Similarly, we can write force on 1 due to 2, that is F12. So F12 vector is, the magnitude should be same, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square. Now the force is given by 2 in which direction? To 1. That means that will be directed here in this direction. It is acting because it repel, and that vector should be written as, or the unit vector should be written as r21 cap. So we can mention here f12 vector is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square r21 cap, or r21 cap means we have to use the formula of unit vector, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square to r21 vector by mod of r. So r square and r, it will be multiplied, 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r cube into r21 vector. Okay, so f21 and f12, the two forces we have find out. Two forces stands for, one is force on 2 due to 1, and second one is force on 1 due to 2. Now we have to find a relation. F12, what value we have got? See, the magnitude is same. Okay, and here if we see that r21 vector, that is acting in opposite direction to r12 vector, but both magnitudes is same. So instead of, we can write from diagram r21 vector should be equals to exactly opposite with r12, because they are opposite to each other. r12 is acting here, r21 is acting here. So if I write f12 vector, that is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r cube, instead of writing r21 here, we can write r12 minus. So if the minus sign comes here, the minus 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r cube r12 vector. See, the whole thing is here, we have already got, that is f21. So f12 is equals to minus of f21. That is the vector form of Coulomb's law. And by this equation, we can say that it follows the Newton's third law of motion. So we know the third law of motion is every action there is equal and opposite reaction. So you see, what action is applied by one charge, the reaction is also same. Okay, so that one is the vector form of Coulomb's law. Now we'll just discuss about the limitation of Coulomb law. See what we can able to calculate from Coulomb's law that we have seen. We can able to find the force between them. We can find the vector form of them. But problem is that there is some limitation of this Coulomb's law. So what are the limitation? Let's see. So the next target is to write limitation of Coulomb's law. See, I'm telling you one thing that I have made that video for the students, those who have not attended my first classes, and that's why I just want to mention the important part which is needed for you. Okay, I'm not telling everything what I have told because that is not needed. I'm just telling the important part. So when we are talking about the limitation, the first limitation comes the charges. When we are talking about the charges must be at rest. Charges must be at rest. Okay, if the charges are moving, then we cannot able to apply Coulomb's law. Number two, the charges must be point charges. Must be point charges. So if the charge is distributed over a surface, then also we cannot able to use Coulomb's law. Okay, and number three, which is very easy and important, that the distance should be more than the nuclear size. Distance should be more than nuclear size. So nuclear size, that also we have to discuss in class 12. So the radius of the nucleus is come in an order of 10 to the power minus 15 meter, which one is known as Fermi. Okay, this level. So the distance should be more than 10 to the power minus 15. Okay, so these are the limitations of Coulomb's law. And now we will discuss a little bit, because I know there are some doubt about permittivity, and instead of free space, if some another medium has come, how we can able to find out the electric force between them. So our next target, what is permittivity, that we have to discuss, and along with that we have to learn one more thing, that is dielectric constant or relative permittivity. Okay, so first one is permittivity. So I have already told what is permittivity. So permittivity is nothing but a property of medium which determines the electric force. So it is a property of medium which determines the electric force between two charges. So problem is that this depends on the medium. And now if there are different mediums are coming, then by which constant we can able to find the exact electric force in that medium. So for that we have to learn one thing, that is dielectric constant or relative permittivity. Dielectric constant or relative permittivity. What is it? Assume two charges, simply Q1 and Q2. The distance between them is between R. It is kept in vacuum. So if it is kept in vacuum, so we have to find out first force in vacuum. That should be denoted as FVAC. What will be the value of it? That is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R square, where epsilon naught is equals to permittivity in free space. And now if I have taken this same charges to another medium, okay, what medium we don't know, we have taken to another medium, so we can write down force in any medium, so that should be FMED. And here we cannot able to write 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, because epsilon naught stands for free space, this naught stands for free space, so it is, we are assuming epsilon q1 q2 by r square, where epsilon is permittivity in that medium. So here we got two equations. This is equation number 1, this is equation number 2. Okay, now what we have to do, we have to take a ratio of it. If we find out F vacuum by F medium, you see everything it is written here that will be cancelled out, everything, that is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1 q2 by r square, 1 by 4 pi epsilon q1 q2 by r square. So this q1 q2 by r square, 1 1 4 pi 4 pi, everything will be cancelled out. The thing is coming epsilon by epsilon naught. So if I am taking a ratio of F vacuum to F medium, we'll get a quantity epsilon by epsilon naught. This is denoted by small k, which is dielectric constant or relative permittivity. What is the use of it? Why we have learned this? Now, if I know the dielectric constant of a medium, then epsilon equals to k into epsilon naught by that equation. That means we already know what is the permittivity in free space. So if I multiply with the dielectric constant, then we can easily find out the permittivity on that medium. That one is relative permittivity. So if anyone asks you to define relative permittivity or dielectric constant, so you can say that dielectric constant or relative permittivity is a medium of a medium. It is defined as the ratio of force between two charges placed at a distance to force between two charges in a different medium placed in same distance, its ratio. Okay, so if I take the ratio, we can able to find out the dielectric constant. Okay, now after getting this one, so we will move little bit the superposition of electric forces. What is it? See, from the first and now also we are discussing about two charges only. We are not talking about instead of two charges, if there are multiple charges, then what will happen. So instead of two charges, if there are multiple charges, then what the thing will happen, that we have to discuss. So our next target is to finding out principle of superposition of electric forces. Okay, so here we have taken three charges, because if I have taken multiple, then it may be little bit difficult to draw. That's why we have taken. No other problem is there. I will show you. If I have taken more than 4, then more than 3, then what will happen. So here also, to represent it, I just have taken one axis, two axes, x and y. So at a certain distance, there is a charge q2. So it is a charge q2 here. The position is, we are taking it is r2 vector. Here I have taken another charge that is in this point, that is q3. The position is r3, and the charge q1, it is placed here, and the position is r1. Okay, that one is our three charge system. Okay, so if anybody asks you what is the distance between q2 and q3, so that distance we have written, it is r12. Okay, r12, it is the distance. And what is the distance between 1 and 3? Obviously that should be r13, because the distance is needed to finding out the force. Now first we have to find out force on 1 due to 2, and which is denoted by F12. So F12, if I want to write down here, so F12 is equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q2 by R12 whole square. And what will be the direction? So 2 is applying force on 1, so the direction will be here. It is the direction, so it is R21 cap, R21 cap, which is acting in this direction. That will be the force. Similarly, if I am asking what is the force on 1 due to 3, another charge. Okay, so it is F13, that will be 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 Q3 by distance is R13 square. In which direction it acts? So from 3 to 1, so that is the direction. So R31 cap, R31 cap. So these two forces are there. In which direction these two forces are acting? One force is acting in this direction. Okay, so this one I am taking F12 vector, and the F13, it is acting in this direction, you see, that is F13. And now if it is asked that you have to find out the resultant force, so to find the resultant force F1, so that should be the vector sum of F12 and F13. For that reason, what we have to do? Now we have to complete the parallelogram, okay, and draw the diagonal, that is F1. Simple thing. Okay, and now this can be told that that is the superposition of the electric forces, where we have taken the vector sum of each forces on one charge. And now assume if I have taken another charge, if I have taken another charge here, so assume that charge is Q4 and it is kept here. It's the assumption. So assume it is a charge Q4. It is here and the distance is R4 if we are taking. Okay. And here this distance, so we are taking this distance is R14. Okay. And what will be the direction of force? I am not calculate the direction of force, so definitely the direction of force will be acting in this direction. That will be the direction of force, and that can be written as F14. Okay, so as it is F12, it is 13, so it should be 14. What will be the resultant then? Then we have to complete it and add it. So assume if it is F dash, so we can say that F dash is equals to F12 plus F13, because it is F1, what we have seen here, plus F14. That means total force, if anybody asks you to write down, so total force is basically F12 plus F13 plus dot 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 F1n. How many number of charges are there? Depending on that, the vector sum will be increased. So if I write it down here, okay, that is F equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught, that is Q1 Q2, okay, by the distance square. So distance square, first case it is R12 square plus Q1 Q3 by R13 square, and here definitely that is the cap, R21 cap, R31 cap. So like dot dot dot, if we have written up to n, so the general form we can able to write down f equals to 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught summation of I equals to 2 to n. Okay, and here you see one is q1, another one is qi by r1 into I. Okay, it's square into ri into 1 cap. Okay, so instead of writing the number, I have written I, where I equals to 2 to n. Okay, so that will be the superposition of forces. Okay, so using this formula we can able to do some numericals also, but the numerical part we will not do today. Okay, in this video for numerical we'll make another video. I think I have sent you. Okay, just see the video how we can able to do the numerical. Simple numerical, I'm telling, I'm just giving an example here. So the numerical which we have done more, that assume we have taken three charges q1, q2 and q3, and then we have asked that how much force is applied on q3. So assume it is minus q1 plus q2. So q2 applying repelling force, q1 applying attracting force, and then we have to complete the parallelogram and then draw the resultant one, and then we can able to find the resultant force. Okay, that is the numerical, that is the type of the numerical we have done. Okay,